the impound. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So what would you like to do today?
I was trying to get the work order for this malfunctioning camera. Apparently I've got to go through a lawyer to...
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get the work order from our cars because that's something that happens internally. We don't just keep them on file where we can make copies of it. If you want to, you can have, you can call LPD through the non-emergency number, have a officer come out, okay, to your residence, and have a sergeant come out and file a complaint and say that you want to get the work orders for the cameras.
How often do your cameras malfunction? I'd be willing to bet that car was back out on the road the next day like nothing happened because you just didn't want to give up the video. You know, do your officers generally start threatening to rip people out of their car 11 seconds after coming into their window?
Well, this is how it works. We conduct a traffic stop for a reason.
Right, and then when they say license, registration, and insurance, and then the driver says, "Why did you pull me over?"
No,
you're supposed to ignore that and say license, registration, insurance, and then when I say again, "Why did you pull me over?" are you supposed to say, "Okay, one more time. If you do not give me your license, registration, and insurance, I am going to rip you out of the car." That's not de-escalation, in my opinion.
I understand where every officer is different, okay? Some officers they would have said, you know what, I pulled you over for this reason, now give
and then
me
other
your license,
officers...
And other officers are going to say no.
Just threaten to rip you out of your car if you don't give them the stuff,
and
right?
other officers are going to say, I have asked you for your license and registration.
And if you don't give it to me, I am going to rip you out of the car.
Yep, pretty much.
And so he threatened me to rip me out of my car twice, and then he opened my door simultaneously as he's ordering, it even says right here, ordered and opened my door at the same time. Broke into my car.
Were you given a lawful order to give a license, registration, and proof of insurance, and you didn't?
No, well, I gave him my license and the registration and insurance. He could just look up on his computer. I said, "Give me a ticket."
But it's not up to you to tell him what he can and cannot.
What if I didn't have it to give it to him?
Just say you don't have it. Just say I don't have it. Here's my license.
Well,
but what I'm reading here.
Okay, do they generally send you to jail without telling you violence was committed against you? I have to find out from witnesses, all the witnesses that saw me getting the crap beat out of me, what happened to my rib cage, and then I do a FOIA, and then he comes clean and says, "Oh yeah, I need him in the chest a bunch, grab him by the hair and rip him out of his car by his hair, and need him in the chest while he's still seatbelted in his car." You know? And then he got me on the ground. Of course, he doesn't mention that he kneed me in the chest 8 times while I was on the ground. That's deadly force. Is that not deadly force?
No, but
Really. So if somebody needs you in the chest 8 times,
it would have never gotten to the point if you would have given them what he requested, and everything would have gone nice and easy. But you did not give him your license, registration, and proof of insurance.
No, I gave him my driver's license.
Right.
And I've done that before. I've given my driver's license and I've got tickets for not having registration and insurance. But he can't do that?
Okay, I cannot speak for another officer. I wasn't there. I was not the officer who stopped you. I was not the officer who kneed you in the chest. I was not the officer who conducted the stop or who sent you to jail that day. I wasn't there. Is that correct? So I'm trying to help you, but...
Why did they run me through the old jail? Is that easier to torture people when they go through the old jail?
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? You went to the old jail?
They ran me through the old jail, the one that's like a dungeon. And then they put me in a cold, dark, wet-floored cell, and they made sure they took my shoes and socks so that it could get maggots in my feet from whatever was in that water. Is that a normal thing?
No.
That's the Sheriff's Department, right?
Yeah, that is the Sheriff's Department. And actually, that is not the Sheriff's Department. That will be the jail.
But it's run by the Sheriff's Department.
Yes, the jail is run by the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually run by government, and then next with the Sheriff's Office. So they have most of the power there. But I'm sorry that happened to you. And as I said, every officer is different.
These guys
Some officers will let you you know, give the reason first, then.
Okay, so I had to bring the video over here and let you look at it because it's ridiculous, this guy, you know. I'm concerned about the man's safety. He didn't even hear me say it. He had to ask the sheriff. So he's putting down hearsay. And as a matter of fact, the sheriff isn't even mentioned on here because probably the sheriff didn't even want to be on this report. He wanted to be secret squirrel. When I asked him what his name and badge number was when I was in the back of the car, he said it's right there. I guess his name is Officer It's Right There, you know. He didn't want his name on this traffic stop because he didn't know this guy was going to champ out on me for no reason whatsoever.
What's bringing all this up now, though? Like a year later, why are you?
It's taking me this long to
get everything together.
To get my mental capacities together. You know, this man beat the crap out of me and kidnapped me under color of law.
Said some officers are different than others, but what would you like
Well,
me to do today?
what this guy did doesn't make officers safe. You know, doing stuff like this to people, it's not right. I mean, you know, to knee me in the chest 8 times and don't even mention it in the narrative. It's not even in the narrative. You know, he doesn't want people. He didn't want people to know that violence was committed against me. You know, it's like I go to jail and I don't even know why my rib cage hurts so freaking bad. You know. What was he trying to make me squeal like a pig? Was he trying to kill me? I think he was trying to do one or the other.
Well, I'm sorry, and again, I'm sorry that this happened to you. What can I do for you today? That way we can resolve this issue, or...
I just want the work order that was given to IT by supervisor, no-name supervisor? You don't even write the supervisor's name down?
Yeah, I don't even know what...
Why would you just write supervisor, generic name? Doesn't the supervisor even have a name? He probably didn't even want his name on the report. Because this whole stop was shady. You know, there's omissions. There's more lies in this report than I tell in my whole stinking life. Omissions. You know what it is? He malfunctioned his camera so he could paint whatever picture he wanted. And the picture was, I ultimately had to physically remove an uncooperative driver from the vehicle. That's how they, it doesn't mention that he kneed me in the chest while I was still in my car. Isn't he supposed to mention something like that?
Well,
I think that's grounds for a complaint, right?
You can call the non-emergency number and put in a complaint. Say you need to talk to a sergeant, or have a sergeant call you.
Put it in writing. I mean, I got the video from this.
I'm trying to make it easy.
I've got the video from the Sheriff's Department. Well, I mean, I'm glad that man got distracted. He looked back and I'm on somebody else's camera or something. I don't know what distracted him, but he was stomping a mud hole in me while I was proned out on the ground. Proned out. He's kneeing me over and over and over and over and over. Is that the way you guys operate?
No, but you are getting very loud, and I was not the officer who was there.
I know. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm talking loud. I talk loud. I'm an ex-Marine. I'm an honorably discharged ex-Marine. And this guy probably wasn't even in the service. He probably doesn't even have a DD-214 from the Campfire Girls.
All right.
But he's going to tell me in the back of the car, you're not a Marine. A Marine wouldn't do that. And I'm like, a Marine wouldn't say, where's your reflective vest? You know? And when somebody says, where's your reflective vest? He's supposed to say, you're just going to run your mouth and keep on going, blah, 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 blah. Running his pie hole like that?
Lower your voice, please.
Is that what he's supposed to do?
No, sir, and I can't tell what he did or what he didn't do, and why he did things that he was not supposed to do. I can't go back there and fix it, okay? Yeah. I can't. I can only help you with now.
Well, I think that your cameras only malfunction when you commit crimes against the community.
Call the non-emergency number to file a complaint.
This ain't over.
bullet.